So if you are looking for a book on a little bit of a perspective change on lifestyle and money, I have the book for you guys. Now, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. Today, I'm actually doing a book review for you guys on a book called Vagabond by Rolf Potts. Now, hold on, stick tight. Let's get this book review started. So I was just doing some random research and I came across Tim Ferriss, and this is one of the books that he actually recommended. And if you don't know who Tim Ferriss is, he's the author of The 4-Hour Workweek, which is a very popular book essentially about automating essentially everything in your life, right? Including your work. And this is one of the books that he recommended, right? This is one of the books I guess he essentially carries with him everywhere he goes, and he reads it quite frequently. And so it really intrigued me to pick up this book, and especially because of the fact I've always thought about living that kind of lifestyle, right? Living the life of a, vagabonder, right? And traveling the world and living off the economy in whatever, part of the world I'm in. And essentially, this book really gives you some great insight onto that stuff and what to expect, right? And to essentially take this mindset, right, and reframe your lifestyle in kind of like being a minimalist, right? And know that you don't want to really get locked into anything, that you can, try to live below your means, extremely low below your means, and, reframe a bunch of different things, right? Like, well, if I buy this expensive vehicle or this expensive house, it takes away from the experiences I could have in traveling the world and, living this life where I can experience some amazing things. And that's essentially what a vagabonder is, right? Is traveling the world, living off the economy. And it's really intriguing to me because I have been in some third world countries, and I love that, right? That's why I really connected with this book, with this concept, because being in that environment, right, and being around the different cultures and trying to immerse yourself in that culture and learn the language and learn a lot of the different, differences, and just the culture in itself is just amazing, right? I got such joy out of that, right? And so I've experienced so many different things throughout my life doing this in this third world country, and many other different countries, right? Not just one third world country, but I must say it is an experience that nobody can take from you. And those kind of experiences are something that money can never buy, right? It's something you do have to go out and actually experience. And living this lifestyle, it's a vagabonder and moving around. Now, one thing I would admit that I've never actually done is worked in the economy, right? Found a job in some third world country or something like that. I think would be intriguing, which this book really talks about, right? And it really talks about travel and what you should do and changing your mindset about, living that kind of life, right? Not buying expensive stuff, but using that money towards, this lifestyle of travel. And so it goes over a bunch of different things. It talks about that, reframing everything, essentially setting yourself up so that you can go out and experience life and do travel, right? And, if you're take a couple weeks off from work and just go live a life, right? Outside of that, outside of, this, just grinding 9 to 5, being stuck in a mortgage and all these other different things, right? And so that's what is really intriguing to me. I was living in this lifestyle. I've always wanted to live this lifestyle. Again, like I said, I've been to that third world country, so I've really enjoyed that experience, right? That is something that you don't really see until you've been there. And then when you've been there, you come back to the States and you realize, man, a lot of it's so fast paced, right, in this Western society, that it takes away from a lot, right? And when you live in that third world country, people value things completely different than we do. And you don't really learn to appreciate what you have until you don't have it, right? And to live this life, this vagabonder, right? And travel the world, right? That's what's truly amazing, and what is an experience that nobody can ever take from you. And so this book really teaches you that, right? It teaches you how to set yourself up. It teaches you, what to do during these things. And one of the biggest things I took away from this book and that I've experienced myself and really enjoyed was going away from all those popular things, right? When you go to any kind of, you know, destination, you know, there's always these popular tourist attractions, right? But the thing is you don't really get to experience the culture, and you don't get to experience all these different things because you're essentially paying for these, you know, these high ticket things that, you know, they're trying to draw tourists into. And you realize that it's a lot of these tourist attractions are very westernized, right? So it makes it feel more like home, right? More something you're used to, where you don't really get a lot out of it. Where if you know, essentially live by scraping by, right? Living that minimal mindset and doing with what you can, right? And going out and experiencing, go to different places and getting immersed in the culture. And, you know, a lot of times when I was getting immersed with other cultures, it was fun because of the fact that they take you to new places that's off the beaten path, right? And it's amazing to see a lot of these places, right? And you're like, wow, why hasn't everybody seen this, right? This is so beautiful. And I've been to so many different places like that, and places that you couldn't even imagine, stuff that you like see in books, right? Like castles on top of mountains and stuff. I mean, just things that are completely amazing that you would not see, right? You would not experience unless you immerse yourself in the culture. And they showed you these things, which are, you know, common everyday occurrences for them, and for you it's not, right? Depending on where you grew up, depending on where you live. And I mean, that's something that I really enjoyed, was getting immersed with the culture and living that lifestyle. And again, this book really teaches you how to set that up so that you can do that. And then when you're traveling, how to deal with it, right? And not just from, you know, just a general old traveler, right? It's from a male and female perspective and the differences, right? And to know about the culture and to know about the, you know, the dress standards and all these other different things that come into play when you visit different areas, because a lot of that stuff really doesn't matter, and you have to realize that people will treat you differently because if you're male or female. And I think that's one of the biggest things. You get a lot out of this book for living that lifestyle. And so when reflecting back on this book, right, it is something that I've experienced myself, so I could really connect with a lot of things from this book. And like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because that's exactly what I did, right? I tried to do that, you know, touristy thing, that, you know, that high ticket item thing. And again, it takes away from the whole experience of being in that particular location, right? Because this is what everybody's doing. And so they'll build that one section up and they'll essentially funnel everybody to that one thing, right? Where if you can go off the off-beaten track, you know, you learn so much more, you appreciate so much more of what you have. And not only that, but you have this desire to want to learn more about the culture and stuff, right? And so that's ultimately what this book is about. And as far as like for anybody that would want to do this, I know it's something that people are like, well, you know, that would be great, but I can't do it. And this book is a great read, right? It does a lot of reframing on what you should appreciate in life, right? And to focus your perspective on the experiences as opposed to materialistic things. And that's what this book really kind of does, right? And so, again, I would recommend this book to anybody. Again, it's a good reframing, good perspective change kind of book. As far as like any cons to the book, I did not have any cons. I again, could relate to a lot of the stuff. And I would say a lot of the stuff is great information, especially when you're traveling, because you get to experience things. And a lot of people, you know, may go on a tour or go on a cruise or something like that and go to these far off destinations, and you know, especially when you're on a cruise, right, you're funneled to do specific things, so you don't really get to enjoy and immerse yourself. Where if you get to, you know, essentially save your money to go on trips by yourself and go to different places and not hit all these big hot spots and immerse yourself in the culture, learn the language. And I know that was one of the hardest things for me, was to learn the language, but I eventually learned enough to get by and learn a lot of the common, you know, the common words or phrases that help me get through it, right, and get to specific locations that nobody else has probably been, or very few people have been, right, from where, you know, from whatever nationality you are. But nonetheless, I mean, this book is a great read. It's a great perspective shift. Again, it's a book I can relate to a lot, and I can see why Tim Ferriss would actually recommend this book. So if you guys are actually interested in this book, I will leave it down in the description below. And until next time, I will see you guys later.